Good evening and welcome to our daily devotional reading. I hope you had a good Sunday. Let's sink into the here and now. See if you can feel your heartbeat. My heartbeat became suddenly very visible. What would one call that sense? Noticeable. See if you can feel yours. And let's see if tonight, even though this dialogue of Plato is strange, comic even, we can listen with our hearts. And maybe, just maybe, we can see something profound. Let's listen to Plato. Neither will the one be like anything or unlike itself or other. Why not? Because likeness is sameness of affection. Yes. And sameness has been shown to be of a nature distinct from oneness. That has been shown. But if the one had any other affection than that of being one, it would be affected in such a way as to be more than one, which is impossible. True. Then the one can never be so affected as to be the same either with another or with itself. Clearly not. Then it cannot be like another or like itself. No. Nor can it be affected so as to be other, for then it would be affected in such a way as to be more than one. It would. That which is affected otherwise than itself or another will be unlike itself or another, for sameness of affection is likeness. True. But the one as appears never being affected otherwise is never unlike itself or other. Never. Then the one will never be either like or unlike itself or other. Plainly not. Again, being of this nature, it can neither be equal nor unequal either to itself or to other. How is that? Why, because the one is, if equal, must be the same measure as that which it is equal. True. And if greater or less than things which are commensurable with it, the one will have more measure than that which is less, and fewer than that which is greater. Yes. And so of things which are not commensurate with it, the one will have greater measures than that which is less, and smaller than that which is greater. Certainly. But how can that which does not partake of sameness have either the same measures or have anything else the same? Impossible. And not having the same measures, the one cannot be equal either with itself or with another. It appears so. But again, whether it have fewer or more measures, it will have as many parts as it has measures. And thus again the one will be no longer one, but will have as many parts as measures. Right. And if it were of one measure, it would be equal to that measure. Yet it has been shown to be incapable of equality. It has. Then it will either partake of one measure, nor of many. Then it would neither partake of one measure, nor of many, nor of few, nor of the same at all, nor be equal to itself or another, nor be greater or less than itself or other. Certainly. Well, and do we suppose that one can be older or younger than anything, or of the same age with it? Why not? Why, because that which is of the same age with itself or other must partake of equality or likeness of time. And we said that the one did not partake either of equality or of likeness. We did say so. And we also said that it did not partake of inequality or unlikeness. Very true. How then can one being of this nature be either older or younger than anything, or have the same age with it? In no way. Then one cannot be older or younger or the same age either with itself or with another. Clearly not. Then the one being of this nature cannot be in time at all. For must not that which is in time be always growing older than itself? Certainly. And that which is older must always be older than something which is younger. True. Then that which becomes older than itself also becomes at the same time younger than itself, if it is to have something to become older than. What do you mean? I mean this, a thing that does not need to become different from another thing which is already different. It is different. And if it is different, and if its different has become, it has become different. If its different will be, it will be different. But of that which is becoming different, there cannot have been, or be about to be, or yet be, a different. The only different possible is one which is becoming. That is inevitable. But surely the elder is a difference relative to the younger, and to nothing else. True. Then that which becomes older than itself must also at the same time become younger than itself. Yes. But again, it is true that it cannot become for a longer or for a shorter time than itself. But it must become and be and have become and be about to be for the same time with itself. That again is inevitable. Then things which are in time or partake of time must in every case, I suppose, be of the same age with themselves, and must also become at once older and younger than themselves. Yes. But the one did not partake of those affections. Not at all. Then he does not partake of time, and is not in any time. So the argument shows. Well, but do not the expressions was and has become and was becoming signify a participation of past time? Certainly. And do not will be, will become, and will have become signify a participation of future time? Yes. And is or becomes signifies a participation of present time? Certainly. And if the one is absolutely without participation in time, it never had become or was becoming, or was at any time and is now become or is becoming, or is or will become, or will have become, or will be hereafter. Most true. But are there any modes of partaking of being other than these? There are none. Then the one cannot possibly partake of being. That is the inference. Then the one is not at all. Clearly not. Then the one does not exist in such a way as to be one. For if it were and partook of being, it would already be. But if the argument is to be trusted, the one neither is nor is one. The one neither is nor is one. True. But that which is not admits of no attribute or relation. Of course not. Then there is no name, nor expression, nor perception, nor opinion, nor knowledge of it. Clearly not. Then it is neither named, nor expressed, nor opined, nor known, nor does anything that is perceive it. So we must infer. But can all this be true about the one? I think not. Now a different argument starts. Suppose now that we return once more to the original hypothesis. Let us see whether, on a further review, any new aspect of the question appears. I shall be very happy to do so. We say that we have to work out together all the consequences, whatever they may be, which follows, if the one is. Yes. Then we will begin at the beginning. If one is, can one be and not partake of being? Impossible. Then the one will have being, but its being will not be the same with the one. For if the same, it would not be the being of the one, nor would the one have participated in being. For the proposition that one is would have been identical with the proposition that one is one. But our hypothesis is not if one is one. What will follow But if one is, am I not right? Quite right. We mean to say that being has not the same significance as one. Of course. And when we put them together shortly and say one is, that is equivalent to saying partakes of being. Quite true. Once more then let us ask, if one is, what will follow? Does not this hypothesis necessarily imply that one is of such a nature as to have parts? How so? In this way, if being is predicated of the one, if the one is and one of being, if being is one and if being and one are not the same, and since the one which we have assumed is, must not the whole, if it is one, itself be, and have for its parts one and being? Certainly. What's in a name? And is each of these parts one and being to be simply called a part, or must the word part be relative to the word whole? The latter. Then that which is one is both a whole and has a part. Certainly. Again, of the parts of the one, if it is, I mean being and one, does either fail to imply the other, is the one wanting to being or being to the one? Impossible. Thus each of the parts also has in turn both one and being, and is at the least made up of two parts. And the same principle goes on forever. And every part whatever has always these two parts. For being always involves one, and one being, so that one is always disappearing and becoming two. Certainly. And so the one, if it is, must be infinite in multiplicity. Clearly. Let us take another direction. What direction? We say that the one partakes of being and therefore it is. Yes. And in this way the one, if it has being, has turned out to be many. True. But now let us abstract the one which, as we say, partakes of being, and try to imagine it apart from that of which, as we say, it partakes. Will this abstract one be one only or many? One, I think. Let us see, must not the being of one be other than one? For the one is not being, but considered as one, only partook of being. Certainly. If being and the one be two different things, it is not because the one is one that it is other than being, nor because being is being that it is other than the one, but they differ from one another in virtue of otherness and difference. Certainly. So that the other is not the same either with the one or with being? Certainly not. And therefore, whether we take being and the other, or being and the other, and the one, or the one and the other, in every such case we take two things which may be rightly called both. How so? In this way. You may speak of being, yes, and also of one, yes. Then now we have spoken of either of them, Yes. Well, and when I speak of being and one, I speak of them both. Certainly. And if I speak of being and the other, or of the one and the other, in any such case do I not speak of both? Yes. And must not that which is correctly called both be also two? Undoubtedly. And of two things, how can either be any possibility not? And of two things, how can either by any possibility not be one? It cannot. Then, if the individuals of the pair are together two, they must be severally one, clearly. And if each of them is one, then by the addition of any one to any pair, the whole becomes three. Yes. And three are odd, and two are even, of course. And if there are two, there must also be twice, and if there are three, there must also be thrice. That is, if twice makes two and thrice one, three. Certainly. There are two and twice, and therefore there must be twice two. And there are three, and there is thrice, and therefore there must be thrice three. Of course. If there are three and twice, there is twice three. And if there are two and thrice, there is thrice two. Undoubtedly. Here then we have even taken even times, and odd taken odd times, and even taken odd times, and odd taken even times. True. And if this is so, does any number remain which has no necessity to be? None whatever. Then if one is, number must also be. It must. But if there is number, there must also be many, and infinite multiplicity of being. For number is infinite in multiplicity, and partakes also of being. Am I not right? Certainly. And if all number participates in being, every part of number will also participate. Yes. Thus far our scripture of the evening. The Tao, which is the true Tao, cannot be spoken of. Maybe start with an acknowledgement of the fact that I can now see why Sophia, when she tried to know the One, fell into an abyss and has been struggling to return, to free herself since. So, what was foremost in my mind throughout this whole reading was the fact that he says neither names nor expression nor perception nor opinion nor knowledge of the One, if the One is as complicated as these words make it sound. And I'm not saying the One is not complicated, but maybe I am. Because I think that anyone who has, I think it's called a pure consciousness event. Am I right? Anyone who has that, had that, or something of the sort of a mystical experience, will tell you that they know the One. They won't be able to express it or to explain it in words. They may not even want to try. But they know the One. No time, no space. It very much reminded me of, luckily, Spinoza. And I thought I'm just going to have Spinoza here and open at any page. And maybe a coincidence, maybe because it's the page I return to most often. Proposition 15, first part of God. I'm not going to read this demonstration nor the scholium. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, because that's very long. Only the proposition. Maybe thus we will know the one. Because he also speaks of affections and how they partake in... I don't even know. Let's see his language definitions. Substance, attributes, mode, all these things. Proposition 15. Whatever is in God, and nothing can either be or be conceived without God. Spinoza, of course, famous for his, I think it's sive in Latin. God or nature, but meaning however you choose to define it. So that came to mind. I've also been reading some Gnostic texts today. Oh, I don't have the book with me. Okay, I'm gonna have to work with my memory then. I have this with me. So it's in my own language, the Gnostic text, and all apocrypha. I can't say it in English now. Apocryphal books. And this man was one of my professors. In New Testament, actually. Although I think he translates... Oh yeah, he probably then translates the New Testament ones. There's a footnote in the book that I read about how the one was quite significant, actually, to the Thomistic Christians. Let's put it that way. Maybe the Gnostic Christians, I'm not sure. And then the footnotes refer explicitly to the toon, the Greek, used by also Parmenides. So there is a Parmenidesian element in the Gnostics as well. And as I said yesterday, Parmenides claimed to have been one who knows, and having received his knowledge from the goddess. There are a lot of these phrases. I wrote it in the other book, unfortunately. Or a lot of his sayings in Thomas. That relates also to one being one. like this, but they do say this is like they're not quite sure how to translate the Coptic correctly, but the Afrikaans translation is, I'm going to translate it, of course, into English as I read. Jesus said, where there is three together, there God is not. But where someone is alone, there I am. Thus say I unto you. And this singleness, being alone, and it is odd, it was the first day in a very long time that I was completely alone the whole day. And they also talk about the beginning being really important to the Gnostics. And here he also said, like, let's begin at the beginning. It's, for some reason, it's a phrase that always jumps out at me. Let's begin at the beginning. I really just love that idea. And the Gnostics were encouraged, and I do this. I connect dots that's probably not supposed to be connected. Because why not? But maybe it makes sense to connect them. The Gnostic idea was, if I understand correctly, not to be too concerned with the end, but to concern yourself rather with the beginning. The origin, I imagine. Where we are from more than where we are going. And that, thus far, what I read was light. My personal experience was of darkness. But I can see that it can be light. I don't know. Maybe if we do understand the pure consciousness event, we will understand the one. And if we understand everything that appears as we exit the pure consciousness event, we will understand the many. And maybe then we'll understand the relation to each other. I don't know. I am not one who knows, alas. Not yet, indeed. May the spirit of Sophia be with you. There was no comment for me to comment on, so we're not going to have tea tonight. I'm gonna go watch An Ancient Way of Being Happy or something like that. I recorded earlier tonight because I want to do that in my own time, or in no time, no space, I don't know. See you tomorrow.